Thank you again. What an extraordinary place to be, right? The learning that goes on here, if you ever have an opportunity to come and just watch the kids here in action, it is so unlike school, right? You know, the sort of factory school kind of jam, right, that we often see in other places, even in very good progressive schools that can feel factory-ish, but in this place, there's crackerjack, alive energy. Max, you must surely know this because you work at a school very similar to this, up north. So, if you want to get a sense of what it's like to work in an institution that's small, creative, faculty carry a lot of the responsibility of building really neat things. You've got Arate's extraordinary faculty, but you also got Max Schaefer-Landau, who's going to be presenting in the third session on the gamification of ancient Greece. I graduated high school during the reign of Pericles. I graduated from high school in 1986, and I want to tell you a little story about how to think about education so that you understand why we're doing what we're doing, why this year we're 35, last year we were 25, and why next year I hope we're 50, and the year after that 100, and the year after that 1,000. Okay. I graduated from high school in 1986. One of my teachers in that year was in her last year of teaching. She began teaching at my public high school in 1944. Okay, she had a 40-year career, and she was done when I was done. Okay, I graduated from high school in 1986, as I said. I suspect I will be in the career when I'm 70. That would be 2037.
Wow.
Okay. I primarily teach middle and high schools, so let's call a 15-year-old who I teach then, okay, in 2037, will be born 2 years from now, in 2022, okay? All other things being equal, this person is alive in the 22nd century. Maybe not at work, maybe, who knows? Maybe the singularity will have been reached, okay? Whether it has or has not, that person is alive in the 22nd century. You as educators are at the fulcrum of an educational generation that stretches from, in my case, 1944 to, say, 2110. Okay? You are at that balancing point. Okay? Your responsibility, therefore, is to honor what is good about what you got, be mindful of what you got that wasn't very helpful, and edit it out of your practice. Then look at what's happening in the world around you and adopt from people who have a certain wisdom and who vibe with you practices that you think might serve those children not yet born who will, in the fullness of time, be in your classroom. Here's what I know. What we did in the 70s and 80s kind of worked partly for me sometimes, just because of the way that I'm wired. There was lots of stuff that didn't. And the world that we're making as a society clearly requires a different set of skills, practices, and abilities than we were training into generations in the 70s and 80s. Gamification, game-based learning, is a method. It's just one. There's a lot. But this is a good one because it really cares about things we ought to care about, like collaboration, communication, perspective taking, empathy building. Gamification is really, really good. Even used, it's good as a method at building those things. We ought to care about those things. Therefore, we ought to care about this method. But it's just one method. So don't expect it to change everything, because it won't. But lean into it. Pay attention to it. Learn from all of us. Play some games. And deploy some strategies. Tracy Wazenegger, my co-host on the Game Level Learn podcast, we say all the time, play all the games. Okay. In the fourth session, I have a session that's just called play all the games. Quite literally, I'm going to just show a slide of the game and say, play that game. So if you're not sure what you should play when you leave here, come to that and I'll tell you. Okay. And if you don't like what's up there, I'm like turtles all the way down. I can recommend anything. Okay. Get out there and play.